Well, we're into the second day. I had to stop early yesterday. We had to go out and visit some friends. And then it started raining, and my audio equipment battery started dying. It was a good time to start. It just stopped raining. It's been pouring here all morning, and it is just a beautiful day. So I'm going to try and get back on this because I got to drive the Jeep to work tomorrow, and I need to get the railings out. I got these two front sections on, in the process of putting foam inside of these wheel wells. It poured last night, and I ended up covering these open ends up because I didn't want water to come pouring down in here. I noticed there's an end cap that's in here, and it's interesting because there's no hole in here if water gets in there, for water to get out. So I may drill a little hole in the bottom of this to allow moisture to come out. Let's see what else. So my next steps on this are to install these long rails that go across and then down into the bumper. I had to remove the stock brackets for the bumper that were sticking out that I mentioned earlier. So those are gone. I cleaned that area up. So I believe we're going to use the two bolt holes for the stock bumper bracket and to attach this on. And then we need to assemble the whole rear section of this as one piece before we attach that. So I'll work on that also. So let's continue on.
Now that we're back at this again, I want to put on these are the two back pieces, and you can tell which direction the back is versus the front, because these holes are, when you look at the back support piece that goes across the back, you have these tabs, and the tabs obviously are flat, so the holes are coming out from the sides. So holes on the sides go in like that. And if you look at this side here, the holes aren't on the sides, they're on the bottom. So that's basically how you tell. So I'm gonna put some silicone in the edge of this guy. Let's put on a glove so I can get my finger in there. Put a liberal amount of silicone in there, like so. And I'll go ahead and slide this guy in like so. And I can tell by looking in the hole right there that good thing they have these holes a little undersized, or else I wouldn't be able to fit that in there. So this is a top panel, so I want to make sure that I want to put some foam in here to try and keep water from seeping in, and also is there a hole? Yeah, there's holes in this guy too. There's a hole right there. So I'm gonna shoot some foam in both of those holes once I get this assembled. So
I'm interrupting this broadcast for a 6-month update. Right here in this portion of the video, I mentioned about filling these holes with foam to help keep the water out. Well, since this time, I believe that I'm not sure if I should have done that. And the reason is there are lights that I installed on the back of my Jeep up on the rack. And I believe that those holes that are along the back, and then this may be obvious for most people, but it wasn't to me till I installed lights, is those holes in the back are for wiring, so that if you have a light, you can stick your wiring in there and run it all the way down to the bottom of where that plastic cap is at that I showed earlier. And then take the wire out and go underneath your chassis for the wiring. So I just wanted to point that out. So if you close up and put foam in there, you won't be able to get your wiring through there. So my wiring currently is on the outside with tie wraps, but I don't have any I don't have any water going in and rusting it out. So that's the plus. The other quick thing I want to mention here is I made the mistake of using black caulking, and the caulking didn't dry properly, and I still have this black, water-based caulk kind of dripping out. I should have used a black 100% silicone. So make sure if you do this and you do, at least seal up the seams. That'll certainly help. You don't need to do the foam, but seal up the seams. Use real silicone on it, and that should help. So anyway, back to the program.
So this one here, they said not to tighten everything, but I'm going to go ahead and put a washer and a nut on this. And tighten that up. And where's that cheap wrench that they gave? I'm not going to make it too tight right now because everything still has to fit together. So next one is this side. I'm going to do the same thing. Put a bunch of silicone in here to help seal out any water from leaking in there. Also, maybe it'll help keep things from rattling around a little bit. Alright, snug enough. Now on here, on this back piece, it has two tabs. These tabs, unlike the front, I had facing out. These two tabs on either side of this, I'm actually having facing towards the front, which basically is in the center of the rack. I'm not sure if the what is supposed to mount to this, if it's a cargo rack or what that's supposed to sit on here, so I may regret the fact that I put the front one facing out, but we'll find out. Alright, so this is all up. I think I'm gonna flip this over and if I can. So I'm gonna squirt some foam inside of those holes right there. And you know what I saw? Yeah. It has these, I'm not sure how well you can see this, but they have these little rubber grommets that looks like they help cover these holes to keep water from going in there. So I'm going to stick those on, maybe to help keep the foam from spooging out. Put on my other glove. This is tended to be a mess every time I've one. Put the black plastic plug on that. There's two. I got this tow hitch right here, and I'm not sure if I'm going to have to remove this or not for the bumper. But for now, I'm going to leave it on. What else could be holding this on? There's definitely something else holding this bumper on. Oh, what the hell is it? Oh, let's see if you can see that or not. So there's a metal tab here, and it's actually going up and holding the bumper on. So there's just two of those. I'm sure if you can see it. Try to get it in my camera here. So I'm just going to remove these two. Let's see if that's a 16 millimeter. And it is. All right, so a recap on the bumper. There's two bolts on the end of each side, back underneath where the plastic is at, and there's two bolts in the center. You take those out and theoretically the bumper should pop right out. So let's see if that's the case. All right. Maybe not. Let me shut this door. Okay. If I do that, the tire's in the way. I gotta take the tire off anyway. Let me go back and look at this. Oh. Alright, well that's obvious. This has a hook that's down here, and there's another bolt that's up inside of here that should come off, because what's happening here is if I can get in on here, you can see this bracket that I removed the bolt. The bracket up above is still attached to the bumper. So I need to remove that whole bracket. Question is now I need to use a socket instead of that just barely fits up in there. Remove that. Now the bumper should come off. Oh yeah. Sweet. Put that there. And then here, if I can correct this. Here was our brackets, and this is what I was talking about. The top, I removed this bolt from back here, but with that bolt, this still attached, that's why the bumper couldn't come off. All right, so now that I got those brackets off, I'm going to come in and I'm going to clean this whole section up so that it looks nice, because with the stock bumper and with the bracket, you're going to come in and you're actually going to probably see parts of this. So it's easier to clean it all up right now while everything's detached. But basically, this will go in, and there's some bolt holes on here and some in here. You're going to use the same bolt, two of the bolt holes from your stock bumper, and it'll mount like that. And these bolt holes here will basically bolt to the frame, and you can see this here comes right up the side of the frame here. So it's a really nice setup. And then the stock bumper will come around here and use these holes to mount to. So they have inserts in here for your stock bumpers, but the ones that come with this particular rack doesn't fit my particular hole distance for my aftermarket bumper. My aftermarket bumper does have an adapter that goes in here that I can use with this, which is what I'll end up doing to bolt all of this together. So I'll be using the rack. I'll bolt that on, and then the aftermarket insert, and bolt that on. So if that doesn't make sense now, hopefully it will when I get some of this put on. But the first piece that comes on is actually the big long bars that go across. Next is to install one of these long major crossbars, and it's like these holes that go across are the same. The question is, which way do these holes go? I mount it like this, with the main holes that tie into these supports in the back. These holes along the side are not straight up and down. I think it has to do with the pieces that sit on top. My guess is when these outer holes here on each end are straight up and down, these holes that run along here that has the crossbars on it should be facing out. And let's go over here and see if that appears to be the case. So if that is sitting like that, and we have straight up and down crossbars, yeah, you can see, I think you can see right here that these holes in the crossbar will match up with that. So that is correct. So you got to be careful when you put this on that these holes along the center are facing out. So that'll basically go in like that. So I'm gonna silicone the inside of that one. That looks like my hole fits. And then I think what I'll do is I'll shoot foam inside of this hole here. I'll plug this hole up so that the foam doesn't come out. That way it'll fill that joint up there. So I think that's the next step. We'll do this on each side, and then I'll need help from Julie to put that up. Or make sure that these holes along the side here are facing out. That we're gonna put on.
You need to close this?
Yeah. Let's close that.
Stand down.
So I'm gonna put some silicone inside both of these, and then
Okay.
you'll like take that end, and I'll take this end, and it'll come across.
Oh, cool.
And we'll slide it onto
Sure.
here. It has a lot of slop in it.
Yep.
And we'll lift it up, and hopefully it should set onto
Nice.
there.
Okay. Yeah, we're not going anywhere. Dogs think we're going for a ride. Do we need any silicone in the bottom?
No.
Are you doing the bottom first or the top?
No, we'll do the top.
Oh, oops, sorry.
Oh. Push the. Are you up against there?
Yeah.
Oh, you're in?
I'm in.
Hold on, I'm not. Hold on, you're putting. I need to get that. I need to pull it out.
Okay, hold on.
There we go. Okay, now go ahead.
Push it all the way in?
Yep. Oh, hold on, I'm not in all the way. Can you pull yours back out?
Yep.
Okay, I'm good.
Okay, I'm good.
Are you in all the way?
Yeah, I'm in. No problem.
You need to raise yours up. You.
Uh-oh.
Here, hold on to this side. I'll try to lift that.
Jeez.
Oh, shit. Can you get yours down? Here, come back over here. And just keep that like about that high. Oh, okay. Can you get
Go
yours
down?
down?
You probably can.
Ah, shit, I gotta raise this one up. Hold on to that.
Okay. Oh, mine went down. Shit. It went down. Okay, mine's up.
You okay? Now I'm up 3 inches.
That's what I am too.
Oh, I'm back down. 1 inch.
Oh, I'm down a half inch.
You're
One
a half inch from
I'm
the
1
bottom.
inch. I'm 1 inch from the top.
Okay.
Second hole.
Let's on the count of 3. We'll push them down together.
Okay.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Did yours close?
Oh, there we go.
Oh my gosh.
Oh shit!
What happened? It fell out?
Came out of the top.
I didn't even see that. I wonder when that happened. I didn't even see that.
Oh, damn it.
Can you pull down and I'll push forward? Hard to say if it's a, where are the screws or bolts?
Oh, success. Just gotta put the washers on it. All right. sun was out a few seconds ago, and now it's raining. So, take these guys out. There it is. It's all on, even without the bolts all being tight. I'm pretty impressed with how sturdy it is already. So I'm going to go through now and tighten everything up.